So, good morning. Let us start the lecture. Optical fiber communication DET 3202. Course outcomes. Optical fiber communication course outcomes are the students will be able to understand the different communication media, various blocks and applications of optical fiber communication system. The students will be able to understand the optics rules and measure the optical fiber cable parameters. Students will be able to identify suitable optical source for a given application. Students will be able to identify suitable optical detector for a given application. Students will be able to identify suitable connector and measure the losses in the optical fiber cable. Students will be able to understand the architecture of the optical network for given application. So very quickly we'll revise the things. We have revised many times this because we are at the end of this unit. Optical detectors are very important because they determine overall system performance. Then signal attenuation is always considered when system performance is found at the detector from the link. The improvement in detector characteristics will impact on the system by allowing the installation of fewer repeater station, lowering the capital investment and maintenance cost. The role of the detector is such that it needs to fulfill the very stringent requirement, and those requirements are same as the source requirements. Then what are the requirements? High sensitivity. As the wavelength increases, the attenuation and dispersion decreases. So first generation 0.9 micrometer and second generation 1.1 micrometer attenuation dispersion reduced. So it is advantageous, and 1.3 micrometer research is going on, and it will further reduce the attenuation and material dispersion. High fidelity reduction in the reproduction of the waveform without distortion, and reproduction of signal with the purity is high fidelity, and high fidelity means it requires the linear response, and which is very needed in the analog transmission. Large electrical response is required to produce the maximum electrical signal from the given optical output. Quantum efficiency should be high. Short response time should be there so that suitable bandwidth or higher bandwidths will be achieved. So short response times of the optical detector increase the bandwidth. So presently current single channel, single mode fiber are having tens of gigahertz of bandwidth, and with WDM, the wavelength division multiplexing, it may have the terahertz, 10 raised to 12, multiple terahertz bandwidth. So detector should introduce very low noise. Noise is due to dark current, leakage current, the gain of mechanism of the detector and the circuitry. This should be less. Stability should be there. Ideally, performance characteristics of detector is independent of the ambient conditions, but practically photodiodes sensitivity, noise, internal gain depends on temperature. So compensation is required, external circuitry which compensate the noise. Stability increases by compensation. So small size is required because detector is to be compatible with the optical fiber cable and the electronics. Low bias is needed to have the advantages. The reliability should be high. Detector must be capable to continuously and stable operate at room temperature many years. And economical consideration, the detector should be cost effective. This is the working principle of the detector. Whenever the atom is at the valence state energy, then whenever the photon is incident on it with the energy more than band gap energy, then electron from that atom goes to conduction state, it will get released and create one hole. So electron hole pair creation generation is there. This is photogeneration of the charge carriers. So whenever there is a P region, N region, they are reverse biased. P is connected negative, N is connected positive. There will be depletion region, and as this voltage increases, the depletion region will increase. And in case of depletion region, whenever the minority charge carriers are there, holes in N region and electrons in P region, they will cross the junction under the influence of the electrical field applied. So negative will be collected by positive, positive will collect the negative. So this hole will be collected by negative and electrons will be collected by positive. They cross the junction and they contribute the current. This is called leakage current. This is leakage current. So along with the leakage current, whenever the photon is incident on the depletion region, that photon creates the electron hole pair, photo generated electron hole pair, and as soon as that electron hole pair is generated, electron undergoes very high electrical field influence, hole undergoes very high electrical field influence because they are generated in the depletion region. Depletion region is a high resistive region and it is having very high electrical field generated. So they acquire very high velocity and they are collected with that high velocity by positive and negative terminal of the battery, and they contribute the current which is called photocurrent. Photocurrent is in addition to the leakage current, which is shown in the with respect to the energy band diagram. Photodiode is reverse bias. Electric field is developed across the junction which sweeps the mobile charge carriers electron holes pair to their respective majority side. So barrier is there which stops the majority carriers to cross, but that same field accelerates minority carriers to contribute the reverse leakage current. And when the photon is incident with energy more than band gap energy, it frees the electron and it generates the empty hole, leaves the empty hole in the valence band. So it creates electron hole pair, electron hole carrier pair. And as the carrier pair near junction is separated, it undergoes the drift under the influence of the electrical field and produces the displacement of the current, which is the external circuit current or photocurrent in excess of the reverse leakage current. It is in addition of the reverse leakage current. Addition of the reverse leakage current, which is the photocurrent. So depletion region must be wider for having more incident light absorption. But depletion region is made wider, then this makes a long carrier drift time and therefore restricts the speed of operation. So depletion region width is a trade-off. If it is increased, sensitivity increases, but if it is increased, speed of response also decreases because the drift time increases. So sensitivity, speed of response is a trade-off of the depletion width. So sensitivity is a gain, speed of response is a bandwidth. Gain bandwidth trade-off is there. So quantum efficiency is defined as quantum efficiency eta is the ratio of generated electrons to and collected and detect at the detector terminal and incident photon absorbed photo by detector. Eta is equal to number of electrons divided by number of incident photon. Eta is equal to Re upon Rp. Re is the electron rate, electron per second, and Rp is the incident photon rate, photon per second. Quantum efficiency is get influenced by the factor called absorption coefficient 1 upon alpha 0, which is the material property. And quantum efficiency is a function of wavelength. That's why whenever the quantum efficiency is quoted, it is along with the specific wavelength. Quantum efficiency is less than unity, and it is mentioned in percentage, and it is taken in calculation as a fraction. So responsivity is defined as IP upon PO. So we are revising, that's why it is very, very fast. So all these things we have discussed many times in the previous lectures. So R is equal to IP upon PO. IP is the output photocurrent and PO is the incident optical power. Unit is ampere per watt. So responsivity equation, if you want to derive, we know E is equal to HF. Then photon rate can be written as Rp is equal to PO upon HF. PO is the optical power. Power is energy per unit time. Energy in single second is divided by energy of photon. It will give photon in single second. Number of photon in single second. So power is energy per unit time. Therefore, total energy is made up of all the photons, and photon is divided by photon energy will give number of photon. So from the quantum efficiency, Re is equal to eta into Rp. So Rp from this equation Rp is equal to PO upon HF can be substituted. So it becomes eta PO upon HF. Re is eta PO upon HF. So Re is eta PO upon HF we know. Then Re multiplied by electronic charge, number of electrons per second multiplied by electronic charge on each electron, E, is nothing but the current. Charge, number of electrons per second multiplied by charge is charge per second. Charge per second is current. So Ip is equal to eta into Re. Re is PO, eta PO, Ip is E into Re. So Re is eta PO upon HF. So Ip is eta PO E upon HF. Okay. So Ip is eta PO E upon HF, but R is Ip upon PO. So this PO you can take on the other side, it goes in denominator Ip upon PO, it becomes eta E upon HF. So R is Ip upon PO becomes eta E upon HF. So this is R equation. R is eta PO upon HF. So F you can substitute as a C upon lambda. So R is eta E upon HF, and R is also eta E C upon H lambda. Eta E lambda upon HC. So R is eta E lambda upon HC. Eta E lambda upon C. So R is eta E upon HF or eta E lambda upon HC. So this is the responsivity equation. The responsivity drops to 0 at a cutoff wavelength. As the wavelength increases, the responsivity goes on increasing because it is directly proportional to wavelength. But for longer wavelengths, the energy goes on decreasing, and as some certain wavelength, the energy becomes less than band gap energy. Those photons will not be absorbed. Those photons will not be detected. So responsivity becomes 0. So responsivity provides the quantum impedance as a function of the signal wavelength, which is critically dependent on the material. So wavelength of the incident photon becomes longer, the photon energy eventually gets lesser, the energy required to take electron from valence band to conduction band, and this reduces the responsivity 0 at certain wavelength, or responsivity falls to 0 whenever there is no detection. So photon energy, so long wavelength cutoff can be defined as photon energy Hc upon lambda, always more than band gap energy Eg, more than or equal to. So Hc upon lambda is more than or equal to Eg. So Eg you can take this side, lambda on the other side, denominator lambda goes into numerator. So lambda less than or equal to Hc upon Eg. So this is the condition to get detected the photon. So lambda, which is having value Hc upon Eg, is a cutoff wavelength. Okay, Hc upon Eg. So this is a cutoff wavelength. So photodiode, in which p-n region are there. There is a depletion region creation, there is a diffusion region also. Absorption region extends into diffusion region. Photon is absorbed in depletion region, creates the electron hole pair, and electron hole pair undergoes very high drift velocity. But if it is absorbed in the diffusion region, it moves with very low speed. It is a diffusion mechanism. And that's why this device is having the problem like diffusion tail and very low slow response. So it is reverse bias as seen in the figure. The depletion region is formed by immobile charge ions. Immobiles are swift if it is in the depletion region, but depletion region width is dependent upon doping concentration. So depletion region must be as maximum as possible. So in case of weak absorption, the absorption region may exceed the depletion region, and it will create the diffusion region. So electron hole pair generated in depletion as well as diffusion region. So outside the depletion region, the hole diffuses towards the depletion region in order to collect, and diffusion process is very, very slow. So photon absorbed in the depletion region is important. Okay, depletion region is made as long as possible, decreasing the doping concentration. Depletion region width is normally 1 to 3 micrometer. In silicon devices, in visible spectrum is 0.4, 0.7, and germanium is 0.7, 0.9 micrometer. So germanium is having longer wavelength operation. So this is the typical characteristic. Initially reverse bias increases, speed increases, but speed is remaining constant at a saturation level. So this is saturation. Thereafter the current will not increase. As longer wavelength light travels more deeply into the material. So longer wavelength operation requires longer absorption region. So to achieve the total coverage of the absorption region, depletion region increase by decreasing the doping concentration. Light doping concentration is there, lightly doped material. So that creates the PIN photodiode. So positive region is there, negative region is there, N region, and in between there is a lightly doped region, I region, intrinsic region. So this creates the PIN photodiode, and intrinsic region occupies the electric field. So depletion region is extended to the end of the device, so there is no diffusion region. So all absorption region will be covered by depletion region. So this is the PIN photodiode. PIN photodiodes are of two types. One is front illuminated, second is side illuminated. Front illuminated is having the photon incidence perpendicular to the junction, and it is having the depletion region width to get absorbed. Photons will travel in depletion region width, so it will get absorbed. So it is having only the depletion region width to get absorbed. So to have the better sensitivity absorption, we have to increase depletion region, so that reduces the responsivity. But that's why to reduce this problem, depletion width is taken or kept optimum, but the absorption region is increased to large value. So this is the perpendicular distance to the junction, and then the photons are absorbed in the parallel to the junction. And anti-reflective coating is there, reflective coating is there on the other side, which reflects the photon. If there is no absorption of photon, it will again reflected back. So 500 micrometer absorption region will again 500, one more 500 will be provided if not absorbed. So this is advantageous. So front illumination, side illumination, two structures are there. Front illumination operates at lower wavelengths because it is having less depletion region. So 20 to 50 micrometer in order to attain the quantum efficiency 85%, fast response 1 nanosecond, and dark current less 1 nanosecond. Dark current is due to surface leakage current and generation recombination in the depletion region, charge carriers. So side illuminated operates close to the band gap limit 1.09 micrometer. Longer wavelength it is 0.8, 0.9, and it is more 1.09. So as it is longer, germanium is there to operate. The band gap limit absorption coefficient relatively small here. So weak absorption is there, that's why very long distance will be provided. Exhibits a large absorption width 500 micrometer, and which is provided perpendicular parallel distance is there, junction parallel distance. But problem with this germanium is it is having a relatively high dark current. So typically 100 nanoampere in 20 degrees centigrade, ambient degrees centigrade, it increases to 1 microampere by increase of 20 degrees, that is 40 degrees centigrade. But this is reduced, this problem is reduced by using the third fifth group semiconductor alloy for the fabrication. The speed of response is dependent on drift time, diffusion time, and time constant, RC time constant. So drift time is the time required to the charge particles to cross the depletion region. Diffusion time is the charge time required carrier generated in outside depletion region, and time constant is a capacitor is there, depletion capacitor, junction capacitor due to depletion region. Junction capacitor is a lesser because as a wide the depletion region, junction capacitor will be lesser. And RC time, then also the junction capacitor is having the RC time constant. So drift time is due to the drifting time required for the charged particles. So it is of the order of, for 10 micrometer it is of the order of 0.1 nanosecond, but diffusion time, so drift time we can write W upon Vd. Vd is the saturation velocity. But the same diffusion time for 10 micrometer, for holes it is 40 nanosecond, and for electrons it is 8 nanosecond, very high diffusion time is there. And time constant Cj is epsilon A by W, where W is the diffusion width, and the junction capacitance and other capacitance are there, lead and packaging, but overall capacitance is also less, that not much high value. So speed of response is mainly dependent on T drift. Capacitance is smaller and the diffusion is avoided in the many structures, the detector structures. So there is no diffusion in many structures like PIN, APD, there is no diffusion. So mainly depletion region is there. So T drift is the parameter which is responsible for the speed of response. So Bm 3 dB bandwidth is given as Bm equal to 1 upon 2 pi T drift or Vd upon 2 pi W. When there is a no gain mechanism present in the diode, whatever the Bm is there, that is same as the 3 dB bandwidth is there, that is same as the gain bandwidth, because gain is 1. No gain means gain is 1. But if the gain mechanism is present, that will be gain into Bm, that is the gain bandwidth product. So if you supply the rectangular pulse, how the response should be? So there is a W depletion width which should be very large than 1 upon alpha for better operation, and there should be a small c for the better operation. That is, the response will be rectangular, will not be get distorted, will not be get modified, will not get delayed if these two conditions are fulfilled. W is very large than 1 upon alpha 0 and C is small. If one of the parameter or both the parameters are not meeting this criteria, this condition, then for large C, if you consider when W is satisfying the condition, W is very large than 1 upon alpha, if large C is there, there will be charging, slow charging and slow discharging, and that increases the pulse duration, and this is affecting the speed of operation. So this is charging discharging curve. Okay, so C must be small. So this is one effect, and there will be diffusion tail, diffusion component will be there due to that diffusion process. The second is C is a small, but W is also smaller than 1 upon alpha 0 or equal to 1 upon alpha 0. It is not, W is not very large than 1 upon alpha 0. So what is the effect of W? Small W. So initial fast and slow components are there due to scalar currents, but there is a diffusion tail due to this small W. Okay, so there is a diffusion tail due to this small W. So rectangular pulse get delayed. Again the pulse duration is increased, and that limits the speed of response and speed of operation and data speed. So these are the criterias which is affecting the operation. Then we have avalanche photodiode. Avalanche photodiode we have discussed yesterday also. P region is there, N region is there, and P region is there, and intrinsic also there. So P and N forms the junction. Obviously, this forms the junction, and across the junction there is a high electric field because it is a depletion region, and there is an intrinsic region within the P region. This is the start of the P region, and this is continuous up to here, P region. So within this P region, some region is less doped region, very lightly doped region, and this is I region, that is intrinsic region. So intrinsic region is as good as the insulator and takes some voltage across it, and depletion region across the junction takes very large voltage because it is having very large resistance. So large electric field is there in the depletion region, and also there is electric field in the I region, intrinsic region. So there is a absorption in the intrinsic region, which is very wide intrinsic region. Okay, and depletion region is made very short. So whatever the disadvantage of the depletion region making wider is reduced. So depletion region is made wider, then that time t drift will increase, response will decrease. So that is reduced. But the photons will be now absorbed by the intrinsic region, which is absorbed, very wide absorption region is provided, and this creates the high, very high electric field region in the depletion region, which is called here as a gain region. Why it is called gain region? It provides the gain. As the photon is get absorbed in the intrinsic region, in absorption region, okay, photon is absorbed here. Photon absorption creates the electron hole pair, photo generated electron hole pair, and electron is collected immediately by the positive of battery and hole is collected by the negative of the battery, negative terminal of the battery. Whenever electron while collecting crosses the junction, it undergoes a very high electric field. Already this electric field is there in the intrinsic region. As soon as the electron hole pair is generated, they undergoes a very high acceleration and velocity. So due to the acceleration and due to the velocity association, electron is having very high momentum. Momentum is mass into velocity. So already it is having velocity, kinetic energy half mv square, mass into velocity square, half mass into velocity square. So there is a kinetic energy associated with electron due to this absorption region electric field, and it is traveling with high velocity, kinetic energy, whatever the kinetic energy with it, and as soon as it crosses the gain region, it acquires very high velocity, very high kinetic energy, and with very high kinetic energy, whenever it is traveling, it has the collision on the other atoms in the region. Okay, so this collision is called ionizing collision, or it is called the process as impact ionization. This process is called impact ionization. Okay, so this collision process is called impact ionization. What is there? That impact ionization. The impact ionization is the collision due to which the collision is impact due to which the charged particle electron is detached. So this collision detaches the electron and creates the hole. That's why this particular atomic structure is becoming ion. Okay, so this is ionization. That's why this collision ionization is there, or impact ionization. So this impact ionization creates one more electron. Okay, one electron collides, creates one more electron. Now if there is one electron which is get collided with the atom, but this electron is having very high kinetic energy, very high, and it detaches one more electron. It detaches one more electron. So original electron is there and one more electron. So this kinetic energy will be shared by these two particles, two electrons. But the shared energy is also very high. So these two electrons, one is original colliding electron, one is detached electron. These two are having very high kinetic energy, and these two electrons collide with further two atoms, detaching two more electrons, releasing two more electrons, and they sharing the kinetic energy with them. Then these 4 electrons also is having very high kinetic energy. 4 collides, again 4 detaches, again 4 electron. They 8 electrons will also having very high kinetic energy, and it continues, get multiplication. This is avalanche effect. Avalanche effect. Reverse bias diode is having avalanche effect, Zener effect, we know. That's why the diode is named as avalanche photodiode, APD. Diode is named as avalanche photodiode, APD. Okay, avalanche photodiode. So this multiplication factor may be of the order of 10 raised to 4. One electron releases thousands of electrons. Okay, that much high kinetic energy it is acquired to release hundreds and thousands of electrons. So this is called gain. One photon is absorbed, one electron is released, that electron crosses the junction but acquires very high kinetic energy in the gain region and collides many more atomic structure to generate and liberate the electrons and generate very high optical current, optocurrent. So this is called gain. So this device is with gain, with internal gain. Internal gain within the device, internal gain. External gain will be with the external circuit. So this is internal gain, with internal gain device. APD is having internal gain because of the impact ionization. So this we have discussed yesterday, and now avalanche photodiode, APD, it has a more sophisticated structure than the PIN. Avalanche photodiode is having more sophisticated structure than PIN photodiode, because in PIN photodiode depletion region and intrinsic region are same. Here in APD the depletion region is across the junction, which is very short, and the intrinsic region is very wide, generated separately in continuation with the depletion region. And depletion intrinsic region is provided the electric field, and depletion region is provided very high electric field as a, and it is working as a gain region. So for all this very sophisticated structure is developed than PIN diode. In order to create extremely high electric field in the region approximately 3 into 10 raised to 5 volts per centimeter, 3 into 10 raised to 5 volts per centimeter. In the depletion region, most of the photons are absorbed, and primary carriers are generated, and there is a high electric field region where the holes and electron acquire sufficiently large energy to release new electron hole pairs. This process is impact ionization, and which is same as that of the leads to avalanche breakdown in the normal diode. So impact ionization often requires high reverse bias, 50 to 400 volts in normal PN diode for the new carrier generations. Impact ionization mechanism can themselves produce the additional carriers. Impact ionization itself produces the additional carriers. However, nowadays 15 to 25 volt operation, low bias voltage operation for the same impact ionization are available. By adjusting the properties of the device, low bias devices are developed. Material properties and the band gap properties and all that. The carrier multiplication factor gain is of the order of 10 raised to 4. Carrier multiplication factor is order of the 10 raised to 4, maybe 10 raised to 4, maybe 1000, maybe 5000, maybe 10,000. So there is a Again, the affecting factors in this device. This device is having some factors which affects the achievement of the high gain. In the avalanche photodiode, some factors are affecting achieving high gain. What are those? First factor is microplasma and second is leakage current. Microplasma over the photosensitive area and leakage current at junction edges. Okay. So if this is the P region, N region, P region and intrinsic region. So at the junction edges, from the edges of the junction, sides of the junction, there is a leakage current. Even though the reverse bias is there, at edges there is a leakage current. So this is the factor which affects the high gain achievement. And the microplasma which is created in photosensitive area. So photosensitive area is probably the intrinsic region. There is a microplasma, small area is created the plasma, some area are created the plasma. Okay, so some plasma is created. So this microplasma, very small region plasma is created over the photosensitive area. Okay, so the microplasma and the leakage current if affect the gain by lowering the breakdown voltage than rest of the junction. So suppose this junction is having some breakdown voltage VBR. Okay, but if there is a creation of the microplasma, plasma is the highly conducting area. This highly conducting area will have rush of the large current and it breaks the junction at that point. Okay, and that lowers the breakdown voltage. And what we require? We require that device should operate in reverse bias condition. Optical detector should operate in reverse bias condition and that device should not break down. If the device is reverse broken down, there will not be depletion region, there will not be high electric field intensity. Once it is broken down, there will be conduction, high electric conduction, and that high electric conduction will not have any control whether how many photons are falling, and at it the very high current will flow. So whatever the photon falling, a constant high current will flow. There will not be detection at all. So this device is short circuited. So we in the detector operation do not want the reverse breakdown, and this microplasma and leakage current leads the device towards the reverse breakdown. Leakage current also supports the reverse breakdown, and the microplasma obviously, which is the highly conducting area which is created in between the regions, is also providing the high conductivity and supports the breakdown. And we do not require the breakdown because we are biased that way that the voltage is not reached for the breakdown voltage. So it is slightly less than the breakdown voltage, but due to these reasons it will get breakdown. So breakdown voltage is lowered and that affects the gain. So impact ionization requires the defect-free material to ensure the material should be defect-free to ensure uniform carrier multiplication over the entire photosensitive area. So defect-free material is made very highly uniform homogeneous material defect without any internal stresses and material composition changes, etc. The defect-free material is taken for the fabrication that makes the uniform carrier multiplication for the entire photosensitive area and achieving high gain by avoiding the microplasma. So microplasma can be avoided by using the defect-free material, and we can have the uniform carrier multiplication also in the entire photosensitive area. Now what will be asked the question, which is correct if the defect-free material is chosen in case of the impact ionization? A. Uniform carrier multiplication with over entire sensitive area is achieved. B. Achieving high gain by avoiding the microplasma. C. Both of A and B. D. None of these. What is the answer? C. Both these. Carrier uniform is also achieved and gain is also, high gain is also achieved. But what the examination will give? Achieving the low gain of the avoiding microplasma. C. Both A and B. And in hurry, you have attempted similar question as achieving high gain. In hurriedly you select the C. What is the answer? Achieving the low gain by avoiding the microplasma is not the answer. So both A and B are not correct. So what is correct? Only A. Now your answer changes A. So this way of difficulty there, just by interchanging some terms. Okay, so you have to be cautious. Those students who have perfectly studied, understood and remembering the things will not go wrong. And one thing you have to have is read it carefully, patiently, and do not answer hurriedly. First thing you want to know is stringent requirement is you should be studied well. You should be understood the theory. Second requirement is supportive requirement is you should be patiently attempting the question paper. Very carefully you are reading and then taking the decision to select the option. So this is the difficulty level I am telling you. Okay. So this type of the cross-checking of your judgment is there. Okay, so be careful, attend the lectures carefully, revise the lectures, and in first lecture, second lecture, I am always telling this, you while attending the class, you have your own notebook and pen with you, and this is regular practice, isn't it? I also, while I was student, I used to take notebook and pen on the benches. And why for the bench is there? For writing the notes, na? And our lecture is so slow because of the connectivity and all this virtual learning that you can very easily write it down. And now what is the great advantage of new tool? That app is there, these YouTube lectures are there. You can again watch and you can separately you can write the notes. It requires hardly half hour for daily lecture. Half hour is sufficient for writing the notes. Okay, so be attentive to the lectures, understand the theory, and then you can very successfully face the difficult level questions also. And what is the difficulty? Some terms are changed, some if problems are there, some values are changed, like that. So to avoid the leakage current, so plasma is avoided by selecting a better material, and the uniform multiplication process is also achieved by selecting the better material, defect free material. But leakage current is avoided at the junction edges to achieve the high gain. So this leakage current is avoided by making the non-conducting area near the junction edges, okay, which is called guard ring. Non-conducting area is generated near the junction edges, which is called guard ring structure. So excessive leakage current at junction edges can be eliminated by use of guard ring structures. So these problems are avoided with this, and this shows the structure of avalanche photodiode. So this is front illuminated photodiode. This is having the N region, N plus region. So this is N region, N plus. This is P region, and this is P plus region. So this is a regular highly doped region, and this P region is low doped, less doped, lightly doped region. So this is acting as the intrinsic region. So these are the edges where the leakage current is contributed. So this is the metal contact. So metal contact ring is there actually. So if you observe the top view, this metal contact ring will be there. Okay, and this is continuous ring. Okay, disc will be there, and this is the area where the photons are incident, HF. Okay, so this is side view. So this is the disc, and under this metal there is a silicon dioxide. Under this metal there is a silicon dioxide. So up to this small area of the metal is covered by silicon dioxide. So this is the silicon dioxide area. Okay, so like this. So this is a metal ring, and below this there is a silicon dioxide which is covering the metal ring, so that this metal will not connect the current directly to the intrinsic region. So silicon dioxide is the insulating region, and also there is a area which is called guard ring, okay, which is provided near the edges of the junction. Okay, so this guard ring is highly resistive area, and this avoids the current which is flowing through the edges of the junction. It avoids the current, and leakage current is reduced. Okay, and this is the depletion region. So, okay, this is the depletion region. So this is the depletion region, and this is the absorption region. This overall is a absorption because it is intrinsic. So this is the photosensitive area, absorption region. So this is the figure of structure having the details of silicon avalanche photodiode, APD. So this is the structure of avalanche photodiode, APD. So these are the details of the APD structure. There is a P plus N plus region, there is a junction and depletion layer, there is an intrinsic P region, there is a P plus region, and there is a metal contact metallization. Under the contact metallization there is a silicon dioxide which provides the insulation of the metal from the edges of the junction, and there is also guard ring to provide the limitation on the leakage current. And the depletion region and absorption region is their intrinsic region, which is absorbing the photon which is incident on the device. Okay. And this is the structure for avalanche photodiode. So operation of APD device at high speed requires full depletion in the absorption region. So complete absorption region should be depleted, and as it is intrinsic region, so it automatically get depleted. But the depletion is different. At junction, depletion is having very high gain electric field, and at intrinsic it is having low depletion, and that is having low resistivity as compared to the junction depletion region, and that's why the lower electric field is generated as compared to gain region. So when carriers are generated in undepleted material, they are collected somewhat slowly, which is a diffusion process, and it is having the effect of producing long diffusion tails in the shorter optical pulses. But due to the coverage of the depletion layer, overall absorption region, there will not be no diffusion region. Okay, diffusion region is completely avoided. The fully depleted APD with electric field more than 10 raised to 4 volts per meter, very high electric field, and all such carriers drift at a saturation limit velocities. So all carrier drift at saturation limited velocities, VD, isn't it? VD. saturation limited velocities. So these are the maximum velocities those can be attained by charge particles. So in this case, the device response time is limited by three factors. One is transit time of carrier across the absorption region, that is depletion region. Second is time taken by the carriers to perform the avalanche multiplication process. And third is the RC time constant. So these are the three factors. What are the three factors? First is transit time of the carrier across the absorption region. So because absorption region is very wide, so that charge particle has to travel all that distance. Okay. All the absorption region is depletion region. So transit time of the charge carrier to cross the absorption region, that is depletion region. Because it is front illuminated device, absorption region and depletion region are having same width. In case of side illuminated, absorption region is very wide as compared to front illuminated. Depletion region. So transit time is of the carrier across the absorption region is putting the limit on the response time. Transit time puts the limit on the response time. RC time of the junction capacitance puts the response time. These two we already discussed. Transit time, T drift and RC time constant. It is so this second number, that is a new one in this case. The second number factor is not common in all the devices. In PN, in PIN, second is not observed because in PN and PIN the avalanche multiplication process is not there. The second number is avalanche multiplication process affects the parameter is factor is affecting the response time. In avalanche photodiode there is an avalanche multiplication process. So one charge particle acquires kinetic energy and collides one more charge particle. These two charge particles shares the kinetic energy and collides on the other two electrons. These 4 electrons again collide with the 8 electron. This is a multiplication process, avalanche multiplication process, and this requires some time. This impact ionization requires some time. This is called time taken by charge carriers to perform avalanche multiplication process. This is called time taken by the charge particles to perform avalanche multiplication process. This is the new in this APD. Previously these two were there, transit time, T drift of the carrier to cross the absorption region or depletion width and RC time constant. And third was diffusion time. So there is no diffusion area, there is no diffusion time. But here in this avalanche photodiode, the process is there, avalanche multiplication, avalanche process is there, that is impact ionization or carrier multiplication. So this avalanche multiplication process requires some time to perform the avalanche multiplication process. So time is taken. So this time is get added. So these three are the factors. Transit time, carrier across. What are the factors? The time of response dependent on these three factors. One is transit time, T drift of the carrier across absorption region or depletion region. Second is time taken by the carrier to perform avalanche multiplication process. And third is the RC time constant incurred by the junction capacitance of the diode and load. So these are the three factors which puts the limit on the response time. Response time is limited by three factors. Okay. So at low gain transit time and RC effects dominate, giving definitive response time and hence constant bandwidth for the device. If the gain is low, device gain is low, okay, gain transit, if the device gain is low, then the transit time and RC effect, that is RC time constant, dominate the response time. Response time is dependent mainly on transit time and RC effect. At low gain, transit time and RC effect dominate the response time. They decide the response time. And in that case, the constant bandwidth of the device is achieved. Whatever the bandwidth is achieved, it is constant. This is at low gain. So that is avalanche multiplication is very less. So it is similar to the PIN diode. So there is no avalanche process, much avalanche process. Multiplication process is not there. It is very less, low gain. But at high gain, avalanche process is having very long time to build up. Okay. At high gain, the avalanche built up is the time that dominates the device bandwidth. At high gain, there is a very long avalanche built up time. So it requires very long, because the process is very high gain process. That is, number of multiplication are very large, and that takes more time. So at high gain, the avalanche built up time dominates the device bandwidth. So when device bandwidth is mainly due to this high gain, and decreases the proportionality with increasing gain. So bandwidth goes on decreasing with increase in the gain. Bandwidth decreases as we go on increasing the gain. So as we go on increasing the avalanche built process, the avalanche built up time will increase, and if avalanche built up time increases, the bandwidth decreases. And it is very long time, and it dominates the bandwidth response time as compared to RC time and transit time. Therefore, at high gain, at low gain, transit time and RC effect dominate, giving the definite constant, because transit time is constant, width is constant, transit time is constant, capacitor is constant, that is RC time is constant. So at low gain, transit time and RC time effect dominate the response time, and it is giving constant bandwidth of the device. But at high gain, the avalanche built up time is very longer, so RC time constant, transit time are lesser than that, very less than that, so they do not come into picture. So already gain is taking more time, multiplication process is taking more time, so response time depend on the gain, and that's why at high gain it dominates the response time. So it is decided by this. Response time is based depend on the multiplication process time, and that's why gain is increased, further time is increased, and bandwidth further decreases. Gain is decreased, time of response decreases, and bandwidth increases. So bandwidth is not constant in this case. High gain case, bandwidth is not constant. Bandwidth is dependent on gain of the amount of the gain of avalanche build process. So gain is increased, bandwidth decreases. Gain is decreased, bandwidth increases. Okay. So gain is increased, bandwidth decrease proportionally with increasing gain. So such APD operations distinguished by constant gain bandwidth product. Gain increased, bandwidth decreases. Gain decreased, bandwidth increases. This is called constant gain bandwidth product. But the gain and bandwidth is constant. Gain and bandwidth is constant. So this type of the APDs operations are identified and distinguished as a constant gain bandwidth, having the constant gain bandwidth product. These devices have constant gain bandwidth product. Okay. So this is the APD property. So it is having constant gain bandwidth product. Okay. Gain and bandwidth multiplication product. Gain bandwidth product is a constant. So asymmetric pulse shape is obtained from the APD. Pulse shape is asymmetric. So if we are inputting the photopulse, rectangular photopulse, the symmetric pulse will not be obtained. So rising edge will be behaving differently, falling edge will be behaving differently. That's why there will not be symmetry of the rectangular pulse. There will not be a symmetry of the rectangular pulse. So asymmetric pulse shape is obtained from the APD. Okay. So why the asymmetric pulse is obtained? Because the relatively faster rise time due to collected electrons. So electrons are collected as soon as they are released. So they are collected very fast. So relatively faster rise time is there due to some electrons which are initially collected. So this is the first thing. Second, slower fall time by transit time of the hole. Second is slower fall time by transit time of the hole. Fall time is slower. Why the fall time is slower? One is rise time of the device, this rectangular pulse. Second is fall time. At the end of the rectangular pulse, there is a fall time, higher to lower fall time. So that is slower because the electrons are generated, that generated holes also, and as we know, electron are having high velocity property. They acquire very high velocity as compared to hole velocity of the same material. In the same material, same biasing condition, the electrons acquire higher voltage as compared to holes. So in one example we have seen, to cross the 10 micrometer region for silicon, holes require 40 microsecond and electrons require 8 microsecond, isn't it? So the electrons are created which are collected immediately, but holes are requiring more time to travel, so they come late. So there is a slower fall time by the transit time of the holes. So faster rise time is there due to the collection of the electron, but slower fall time is there due to transit time of the hole. So pulse response will be faster rise time and slower fall time. So pulse will have the asymmetric response. Okay. So asymmetric pulse shape is obtained from the APD due to relatively faster rise time due to the collected electrons and slower fall time due to the transit time of the hole. Use of suitable materials and structures may be give rise to times between 150 to 200 picosecond, rise time of 150 to 200 picosecond, while the fall time is 1 nanosecond or more is quite common. So very fast rise time is there, 150 to 200 picosecond. Pico means 10 raised to minus 12, very very fast, and nano means 10 raised to minus 9, slightly slower than this, 1000 times slower or maybe 100 times slower. Okay, 100 times slower. So use of suitable material and structure may give rise to may give the rise times between 150 to 200 picosecond, rise time between 150 and 200 picosecond, and fall time of 1 nanosecond or more. And the fall times limit the overall response of the device. Fall time limits the overall response of the device. Okay. So fall time limits the overall response of the device because they are dominating. Fall times are dominating. Rise times are very fast. So whatever the fall time is there, that limit the response. Okay. So there is asymmetric pulse obtained from APD And this asymmetry is due to the relatively faster rise time due to the collection of the electrons and slower fall time by the transit time of the holes. And this can be minimized, both can be minimized further by use of suitable materials as well as structure, and may give rise time between 150 picosecond and 200 picosecond. And fall times of 1 nanosecond or more is also there. And as the fall time is very large, the fall time limit the overall response of the device. Okay. So this is the last slide of this chapter unit. This is the last slide. Okay. So photodiode is having all the photodiode, PN photodiode, PIN photodiode, okay, APD. Okay. So these are called photodiodes. Out of that, the APD is having the multiplication. Okay. Photodiode means PN, PIN, APD, all photodiodes. But out of that, APD is having the multiplication. So multiplication factor of this diode APD is multiplication factor M is a measure of internal gain provided with APD, because PN and PIN are without internal gain and APD is with internal gain. So multiplication factor M is the measure of internal gain provided by APD. Okay, multiplication factor M is a measure of internal gain provided by APD. How much internal gain is provided by APD is measured by multiplication factor M, and this is defined as I upon IP. M is I upon IP, where I is the total output current at the operating voltage. I is total output current at the operating voltage. That is where the carrier multiplication occurs. Okay. That is where the carrier multiplication occurs. Total output current of the operating voltage, where the carrier multiplication occurs after the carrier multiplication. Total output current after the carrier multiplication. And IP is the initial or primary photocurrent by absorption of photon. Photocurrent is generated, IP, and this photocurrent is get multiplied to give the I current, total output current. So I is the total output current at operating voltage, where the carrier multiplication occurs. Once the carrier multiplication occurs, then whatever the current is there, that is I, total. And IP is the initial, primary photocurrent, that is before carrier multiplication occurs. IP is the current before carrier multiplication occurs. I is the total output current after carrier multiplication occurs. So before carrier multiplication and after carrier multiplication, if you take ratio, okay, so after carrier multiplication I current is there, before carrier multiplication IP current is there. So after carrier multiplication divided by before carrier multiplication will give the multiplication factor. So after multiplication and before multiplication, this is the ratio. So M is equal to I upon IP. This is the multiplication factor. And as we have discussed, this may range to 10 raised to 4. Multiplication may range to 10 raised to 4. Okay, this is the multiplication of the photodiode. So reference is Optical Fiber Communication Principles and Practice, John M. Senior, assisted by M. Yusuf Zemrov, and this book is Prentice Hall's publication book. It is 3rd edition 2009, and now recent books may be available. So for all the units, majoritarily we are using 95 or 99% we are using this book. Reference book Optical Fiber Communication Principles and Practice by John M. Senior, assisted by M. Yusuf Jamrao, Prentice Hall 3rd edition. Optical Fiber Communication Principles and Practice by John M. Senior, J.M. Senior. This book is referred for preparing these slides, for preparing the question solving, the preparing the problem solving. Okay. So thank you. Be at home, be healthy, be safe. So this completes the unit 4, isn't it? This completes the unit 4. Okay. Now the unit 4 is completed. So I will give you the this